You're listening to the Pittsburgh Piledriver. What the hell is that? Podcast.
It's Thursday night. It's officially November. We are recording the Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast, and since it is November and I have small children, you know what that means? That means I have a little tickle in my throat, and it's that time of year where I sound like a combination of Batman and fucking Rob Zombie, so I'm sure that's going to all work out well for me. Here comes Hanky, here comes Coffee, here comes Ransom. It's Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast time. We're going to do wrestle talk and wrestle things out of our mouth holes because that's what we do. So strap in. I don't know what we're going to talk about tonight, but I'm sure it's going to be great. I'm confident. That's not sarcasm. I am really confident that we're going to do great speakies with our mouth hole words. Poot the Bard, he is also here. Talk about Tom, the Cruiserweight champion, is also here. And if you have been living under a rock, let me go ahead and introduce you to the encyclopedia of the wrestling knowledge that is a part of the Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast. He is BEFFLEGGENDD. That's right. It's Beth the Legend. Ain't he great? And that's a good segue into something new that has happened on All Elite Wrestling, which is Beef.
Double J is All Elite, man. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Now, he did refer to himself as the last outlaw, which is fucking cool. I like that. But I'm pretty sure that was like Dustin's like whole gimmick. I don't know if Dustin
he ain't no Jeff Jarrett.
I mean,
wow.
Now,
okay.
All things being equal, if we're comparing Goldust to Jeff Jarrett, I think that Dustin Rhodes may have a little bit of a leg up on Double J.
He might have a little bit of a leg up on Double J, but he's no outlaw.
Yeah,
like,
that's
that's
true.
Weirdo grind up on you, freaky old man strip club. Like that's Goldust / Dustin Reynolds. Like he's no outlaw.
Or he looks like a guy who's like, I got a really good real estate property investment.
Yes,
now, it may or may not be a creepy strip club that I frequent, but you're going to love it. Also, invest in gold.
That is accurate. Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah, look, I'm here for Jeff Jarrett. I will say
he looks tuned up too, man. He looks real fucking good. Like he does. There is no reason that a man his age, and I mean, him and Billy Gunn must be spoken the same like crack or something because man, they both look so good for their age.
Now here, Jeff Jarrett looks good for his age. Billy Gunn, I don't care what Scott Steiner wants to dub himself as these days. Billy Gunn's freaking Freakzilla. Like that dude, for as old as he is, he's fucking cut.
I was going to say, I hope one day that I look like a 32nd as good as Billy Gunn does. Fucking damn.
Lord almighty.
Damn,
I
Gina.
would take as good as Billy Gunn looked in the Attitude Era. Much less now, but we're beleaguering the point. Jeff Jarrett, AEW. Yeah, man. I mean, as is expected, you get a little bit of like, dissonance with the fans. First of all, like, oh, hey, look, AEW has another big signing. How long is he going to be relevant? 2 weeks before something he goes away on, it just appears on Rampage exclusively. But I mean, more importantly, I think a lot of people, because Jeff Jarrett carries with him a cachet.
Yes.
Of failure.
No.
Well.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. It was kind of funny to hear Ransom's reaction. He was like kind of agreeing with you, and then you're like, oh, failure. It's like, oh. I like
everything that Double J has been. I like Canadian country. I liked, Don't Piss Me Off. I love the Chosen One. I thought that was one of the best gimmicks WCW ever had.
Chosen One.
And I really didn't mind Jarrett in Impact, but
yeah.
All that being said,
I'll stick to that, Poot.
I don't think that he has achieved to the level that he should have.
No, not even close.
And I think that's and more importantly, here's another guy who ran a company into the ground. Sorry. I have to, man. I have to. It's comedic timing. Like he has the mentality of a booker. All right, where he is going to say, "Here's why this is going to work," and that's great and all, but I just wonder and worry about too many cooks thing. Like I don't want him to be too many cooks. I don't want him to be a problem in the locker room. I don't want him to like create. And again, I'm going to say the word dissonance because I don't want him to be so strong-willed with his ideas and his booking sense where he can't like take direction.
Here's where I'm a little optimistic with Jeff Jarrett in AEW. I've after the whole, well, no, not after, right before the whole Ric Flair's last match, like I started watching a bunch of interviews with Jeff Jarrett just to kind of get caught up. And he's either putting on a really good front or this dude is like genuinely, at least now in his life, a really nice guy. Because like the interviews that he gives, like at least the ones that I watched, and they're later interviews, like from around now, not, anything earlier, like when he was running TNA or anything like that. But he seems very humble. He seems like a very nice dude that you would just want to go and have a beer with and just listen to him talk wrestling. Like he seems like a very likable fellow.
Well, and I think that just kind of happens with time. And I think honestly, I think the past decade, and let's be honest, the past decade, from a social media standpoint, from a personality standpoint, from an industry standpoint, even smacked him hard in the fucking mouth. The industry looked at him and said, "Don't piss me off, slap nuts." And life kind of did that. And I think honestly, I think maybe it's seemingly he has the right people around him. He's in the right mindset and everything like that. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because when I saw that Jeff Jarrett debuted, I went, fuck, there it is. AEW is going to be TNA. That's it. Fucking dead. I was like, he's going to weasel his way. As long as he's there if he's there to play ball and he's there to be a mentor and he's there to, show the younger talent and show them kind of the way and even teach them to not make the mistakes he did, I think he's going to be a really good resource.
Here's my hope. I'm hoping that they utilize him as an on-screen talent, not a wrestler. As good as he looks, I don't want him to be an active competitor. I want him to maybe be a manager or a mouthpiece on screen. But I want him to be backstage. I want him to contribute the booking knowledge that he has. Because I do think he does come with a wealth of booking knowledge. And I'm okay with Jeff Jarrett in a combination of those roles. Because I don't like the whole executive backstage and active wrestler.
Yeah.
I'm okay with executive backstage and mouthpiece like in the ring, because your job at that point isn't to get yourself over. Your job is to get somebody else over and to help somebody else. So I think the conflict of interest is a lot less in that sort of role as opposed to active wrestler and executive backstage. Because I mean, if you're still an active wrestler, you're trying to get yourself over. And that creates a huge conflict of interest in the backstage area. Jeff Jarrett is great at playing a very hateful villain. It's very easy to hate heel Jeff Jarrett. Like, he's two completely different people when he's playing that villain as compared to when he's giving interviews, like on podcasts or whatnot. He's very down to earth. He seems very humble. He seems like a very friendly, nice guy. And he can flip that switch and turn into that villain for the on-screen, and it's real convincing. Like, it's real convincing. That was the one, I feel like the one shining light in the Ric Flair's last match was Jeff Jarrett. Because even his entrance to the ring, like, if you just go back, like, YouTube it, watch Jeff Jarrett's entrance to the ring. His entrance was fantastic. Like, he took a drink away from a fan and threw it in their face. I have not seen a wrestler do that in such a long time. He took a drink away from a fan and threw it in their face and then kept jawing with them, begging them to try to jump the thing and hit him. The man is phenomenal when it comes to that.
I don't think Jarrett has ever, like, been known as a bad dude. I think he was a guy who knew his worth, both at the end of his WWE career and at in WCW. I think that he was a guy who knew his worth. I don't think that he ever. He overestimated himself. I think. So, like, he knew his worth and beyond, but, like, I don't think he ever, like, leveraged his. You know what I'm trying to say? I don't think he ever, like, politicked his way to the top. I think that it was just, like, the right people in charge that.
To some degree, everybody politics their way to the top.
Maybe
they get to the top one way or the other. There's no way you get around it.
Right, but what I'm saying is, like, Russo had him in WCW. Dixie Carter, had him in Impact. I don't know what the fuck happened with Global Force, and that whole fucking Global Farce is more like it. But, like, I don't.
Hell, man.
I don't understand what that whole fucking thing was. That I think borderlines nepotism. But, like, otherwise, he was never a guy who worked the backstage reportedly to get himself over. He was a guy that took and more or less extorted Vince McMahon, which now that we know what we know about Vince McMahon, obviously, we can feel a little bit better about him being extorted for a couple extra $100 G's. But, like, I don't think he's ever been a bad dude. I just think that he's and forgive me, I say this in the absolute nicest way possible. He has Daniel Bryan syndrome, where he's a guy that's always going to be right at the top of the second level, right at the bottom of the top level, through no fault of his own. But that's just kind of where they stick around at, and. I think that there were definitely some years where Jarrett thought that he was, like, the number one, like that he and WCW were going to bring down Stone Cold, and I'm like, no, man, no, man. But,
I mean, he was probably at the top of that food chain for a while there, but they weren't going to dethrone anybody.
Oh, right.
But I mean, like, I feel like this is a good fit. I'm excited for, like Ransom said, what he brings to the table, and I'm excited for where it looks like they're going with him. He made, like, a lot of, like, allusions to, like, the AEW fan base, and, like, it very much had, like, almost an outsider perspective.
Yeah.
And I think that could be interesting if done well. I know that invasion storylines have been done to death, but I think if done well, it could be really fun.
I mean, they could even be using Jeff Jarrett as some sort of catalyst to launch into the Ring of Honor spotlight.
That's a good thought.
Jeff Jarrett, maybe he could be used as, like, the guy that starts all these young guys who are probably going to wind up in Ring of Honor, stirring them up and getting them to rally against AEW. And maybe that's how that Ring of Honor brand starts. It's just speculation. I have no idea, but like Beef said, the invasion things have been done to death. So maybe it would work, maybe it wouldn't. I don't know.
I think that you can walk that line finally. But yeah, it's a tough ask.
Well, it's so much harder to do nowadays, anyways, because of the fact of the evolution of social media and how much information and how much we know about behind the scenes stuff, or how much is supposedly known behind the scenes, and all the speculation. Like back in the day, when Hall and Nash showed up in WCW, we really didn't have the wealth of information and instant access to everything like we do now. You know what I mean? So it's a lot harder to pull the wool over fans' eyes, like, with surprise debuts or anything like that. It's hard because again, the information is somewhere out there. B, sometimes people just have a hard time keeping their fucking mouths shut, which I mean, I'm sure that's always been a problem to some degree, but it's, it wasn't as easily noticed because you didn't have a fucking mini computer in the palm of your hand in your pocket, so it's a lot more difficult to get one over nowadays.
I would like to see this because he's with Lethal and Sanjay Dutt, two guys who are Impact veterans. I would love to see this be like an Impact thing. I don't know if it will be because honestly, I don't. What weight does Impact carry anymore?
Well,
right.
Do you remember there was a brief time during the Attitude Era where they were trying to do an NWA invasion of WWE, and Jarrett was kind of at the center of that?
Yes,
I didn't remember that actually.
Absolutely, he would come out with the NWA Championship, and
when was this? Like,
and it was
more like 90, 97,
it was,
98.
Yeah, it was like between like JEFF and like Don't Piss Me Off.
Oh, okay.
He had these like weird fucking like baby blue and fucking like peach colored tights he'd come out on that was like not a singlet but not like tights. It was like somewhere in between, and he wore the fucking like Pooch said, the NWA title, and I think Corny was with them. So
and there were other people that were part and parcel to that as well, and it was just kind of. But that's the thing. He was the centerpiece because he was the known one. Like everyone else was, unless you were back then. When I say it this way, and it's gonna make me sound old as fuck, you were a real wrestling fan and like got dirt sheets and magazines and went to the tape territory
traders.
Stuff.
Tape trading.
If you were tape trading, like. That's the fan that knew all of those guys. You know what I mean?
Oh, they even tried to like revamp it too, because like back when Jeff Jarrett was doing the NWA champion thing and Cornette was his manager, Cornette even came out at one point and formed the new Midnight Express with fucking Bart Gunn and Bob Holly.
Yep.
So like it wasn't even the old like NWA Midnight Express. It were two WWE guys that they threw into a tag team and tried to, brush off as like, oh, look, these guys are going to join the NWA because they're the new Midnight Express. Like, nah, fuck it, didn't work.
I have a question for Beef after we when we're done with the Jeff Jarrett talk.
Yeah, real quick, I want to ask. So Pooh, are you alluding that he may be like some sort of like ancillary thing to like NWA, like power in that?
I mean that could be kind of cool, but that could be cool, but that what I'm saying is that Jarrett has done something like that. Like, you're talking more so. I think the Impact thing is more in the realm of possibility. I think it would be really cool to bring in NWA guys, like just and do that kind of thing. But I think it's more realistic to have like the former Impact guys do that. The thing is that it kind of fell flat before. I'm wondering if it'll fall flat if they try that, because Impact still, I mean, there was a lot of good about Impact across its entire lifespan and multiple names. Like there was good in there.
Oh, for sure.
Tons of good in there. But it's also a fucking meme. Like it is.
Yes.
Like Impact in its entirety is a fucking meme. Like from the insane storylines to how they misused guys like AJ Styles to the fucking octagon ring, like, or the 6-sided ring, not octagon, the 6-sided ring that apparently hurt like a motherfucker.
Yeah, I remember. I think I heard Kurt Angle talking about that or something.
To be fair, I think that was a great idea for the talent that they had. I think that was a wonderful idea.
But again,
Mexico,
it's like communism.
AAA still uses it.
It's like communism. It's a good idea on paper, but in practice,
no, man. Mexico still uses that shit, and it works because the luchador guys do it.
Yeah, okay.
The problem is
it works for that. It works for that.
The problem is that like that's what worked for Impact is the X Division, and they didn't lean into that. They instead decided to go out and get guys like Abyss, who again was a TNA original, but like Christian, etc.
You're talking about from a TV presence standpoint. I'm talking about from a wrestler health safety standpoint. It just didn't work for them because they were beating the shit out of their bodies even more. That's what I meant.
Well, maybe if you don't hire, 60-year-old fucking, octogenarians.
AJ Styles talked about how bad it fucking hurt.
Really? I've never heard that.
He said
they could have done a better job at construction then,
He took a belly-to-belly from Kurt Angle off of one of the top ropes, and he said when he landed in that 6-sided ring, he felt like he got hit by a fucking bus. But then when he took it in WWE, like the same move, he went, oh, God, it's like landing on a pillow in comparison.
That has nothing to do with the side of the ring. Yeah, exactly.
That just sounds like poor construction. Like, it sounds like it was a hard-ass ring, and they could have done a better job at constructing it to be able to absorb those kind of blows. Like, I don't think the fact that it was 6-sided lended to it being harder.
I could see that because, displacement of... This displacement of weight and whatnot, your
weight displacement.
Okay, well, there's that. Okay. Tom, what was your question?
My question.
I want to say something before Tom moves off this subject.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's a compliment, Poot, though, because if you think about it, Poot, I think you could have the branchings of like an Impact Invasion style storyline. Because you do have the guys that were out there with Jeff Jarrett. You have Samoa Joe. He's still there. Not an Impact, but like he's, with AEW.
Yeah.
And you could even there's always turncoats. The WWE Invasion storyline, there's always turncoats. It would be an interesting excuse me. There would be an interesting turn to see the Elite come back and just have a mass, storyline wise, have a massive, you suspended us. We helped you build this. You betrayed us. They side with Impact.
That's kind of where that's kind of where the vignettes are. I mean, not the
that's what I'm saying.
With Impact, but yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like they have the TNA logo disappearing with the Elite fading away. It would be an interesting thing to see them come back and, have a storyline where they're pretty much they turn on AEW. Like, you betrayed us for this outsider, you punished us and yada yada, so now we're gonna punish. I don't know. I think they have opportunity there.
Yeah. I'm here for it for sure.
All right, Dunzo.
My question for Beef, it's a real quick one. How excited were you for Shibata on AEW?
Shibata.
You would think that I would be, but I am not really familiar with Yori Shibata. I know that he was a big deal. I know that his prime was cut down, and I know that everybody was super excited when he came back. But he predated my New Japan watching, so whenever I see, and I might actually go out of my way to watch Rampage tomorrow night to watch Shibata versus Orange Cassidy. But that'll be my first experience with Katsuyori Shibata. I mean, in an actual match.
Because he was at Forbidden Door, wasn't he? There was something.
Yeah. He came out, I think, and he had a stare down with or helped Orange Cassidy or something. But yeah, he appeared at Forbidden Door, which everybody's like, holy fuck, and I don't know if Shibata's had a match since he came back. I'm sure there'll probably be somebody out there listening who will actually know whether he has or not.
Turkey and Swiss on ciabatta.
No, that's a damn it, Ransom.
Hashtag hungry.
Hashtag shut up, Ransom.
Oh,
how dare you? How dare you disrespect this guy that I don't know anything about?
I'm not saying. I'm just saying. I'm trying to fucking do business here, man. Don't say a peep.
Hey, didn't Chris Jericho face a Ring of Honor champion? Former Ring of Honor champion?
He did.
Fucking Chris Hero, baby.
No, it wasn't Chris Hero at all, Poot.
Was it fucking Colt Cabana?
Wasn't it?
It sure was.
Colt Cabana. I'm an idiot.
I saw so many memes and articles on social media about how everyone was like, it could be Chris Hero, it could be this person, it could be this. Oh, it's Colt Cabana. Yay, Colt Cabana got some TV time. Oh,
I mean, but he looked so happy. He looked so happy, and he was so thankful. And the people there absolutely were there for it, man.
Yeah, he's probably happy because fucking Punk wasn't there.
Right. And this is a big deal because it's the first time he's been on AEW TV in months. Pretty much since Punk came back, with the exception of, I think, his appearance at Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor.
Well, now that it sounds like Punk is on his way out,
on the outs.
Wouldn't really be surprised if Colt Cabana started to get more TV time because, you know.
Yeah. And to that point, since we brought up his name, since it was a big part of our conversation over the last two episodes, I think it's worth mentioning now that there's even more information coming out that supposedly.
Is there?
Well, we had mentioned it. We actually found out about it like right after we recorded, so it seems like it's forever ago. About the whole thing with Punk's dog Larry being injured by the Elite when they stormed into the locker room. Apparently, that's being reported that wasn't the case, or it's just misinformation. So there's still the whole he said she said going on. Punk's camp. Punk's camp saying this is what happened. You kicked my dog, and they're like, no, we didn't. You took my job. No, we didn't. Yeah, whatever.
I think it's funny. I read this somewhere, but this is pretty much how it's been. Like, report comes out, Punk may not be the bad guy in the situation, and talks about his dog last week, and then like the next night on AEW, all of a sudden they're airing promos for the Elite. Like, all of a sudden people are seeing this rumor out there. Oh, Punk's got the wrestling bug again, and all of a sudden we see Colt Cabana on AEW. Like I think it's very clear the message that they're sending.
We don't want him back.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's the message that AEW is sending.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, for Tony Khan to put Colt Cabana out there last night was absolutely a message to CM Punk.
Well, honestly, since Tony didn't stop Punk at the scrum and everything like that, if this is his way of kind of firing back off at Punk or whatever, good on him. Because fucking Tony needed to do something to handle this whole thing, and he needs to show everybody that when it comes down to it, he's the one in charge, and he's going to do what he thinks is best for business. And granted, if whatever Punk said about Colt Cabana is true, all the outside the ring stuff or whatever, and this and that, well, yeah, it paints him in a pretty bad picture. But if I don't know if he can do business and he can draw money somehow or whatever, and that's
Punk's
what I'm saying. No, not Punk. Colt. If Colt can do business and is willing to do business, and he's somewhat of a draw or whatever, and Tony thinks it's worthwhile business wise, do you, man? Like
I think people were excited to see him last night, and he got the hero's welcome, and he teared up a little bit, and it was neat to see because kind of coming full circle for him,
Do you think that he was as well received because people have such a bad taste in their mouth because of the stuff with Punk?
Got a bad taste in their mung.
Listen, I'm not an elegant wordsmith.
Oh, beef! You have a bad taste in your mung. I don't see. Todd, what did you say about freaking that guy?
What freaking guy, Colt?
Oh no, Tony Khan.
Oh, that's that freaking guy. You know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, this doesn't strike me as Tony Khan knuckling up and fighting back. Like, all of this is happening like after the fact. Like, oh, now we're gonna put Colt Cabana on TV. Well, where were your fucking balls whenever Punk was there? Like, you kept Colt Cabana off of TV whenever Punk was there because Punk was grumpy about it. So you didn't have any balls at that point. You didn't shut him up at the media scrum. Like, you didn't knuckle up then. This is the equivalent to being, in a fight with your high school bully, and your high school bully goes to throw a punch at you, slips and falls and breaks his ankle, and then you're standing over him going, "Oh, look, see, I got you."
Yes, like every single fight I've ever been in.
Like,
to be fair,
you didn't fucking knuckle up and fight. No, hold on. You didn't fuckle up and knuckle up.
Fuckle up.
You heard me.
Fuckle up at night.
Yeah, hit him in the mung. Like, you didn't then. Like, this is all happening after. Like, after the fact, now that Punk is on his way out, you're like, oh, now we're going to air vignettes of the Elite. Now I'm going to put Colt Cabana on TV. It's like, look what I can do now. Like, no, man. This is after your bully has already transferred schools. Now you're puffing your chest out? I don't think so.
To be fair, there wasn't a lot that I think of Tony Khan.
No? Okay, fuck me.
There was not a lot that I think Tony Khan could have done at the scrum without looking like a man losing control, which is what he was. But he wanted to save face, man. Like, I get it. Like, he couldn't be like, all right, man, shut the fuck up. We're done. Punk is gone now. Good night, everybody. Like, again, that's the problem with, like, after fucking media comes after the fact. Like, emotions run high. Regardless of all that bullshit, we've also seen the report saying that Jericho has been very vocal in the fact that Punk has been a cancer and he refuses to work with them, and he's like leading a charge of wrestlers against CM Punk.
And honestly, I would believe more of what Jericho has to say.
They're both divas. They're both full tilt divas. Jericho is doing exactly what wrestlers do, is that whenever he's in a position of power, or at least a position of like favorability, using that to strike it over somebody else. I love them both for different reasons, but like I absolutely like and Jericho, to his credit, to be fair, he has been a guy in AEW. He has been,
fuck no, Poot. If I tried to start it and it didn't work, don't try to start it again.
I would even go so far as to say that Jericho has been him in AEW. Like, he's been one of the guys that has put the company on their back.
Well, yeah,
he has. But go ahead, Tom.
I was gonna say, just look at what he's done though. Like, he's somebody that has helped getting younger talent. He's been somebody that has been helping to get the younger talent over, or working with talent that maybe wasn't necessarily pushed to the front of the line right away or anything like that, or somebody that you wouldn't think. Like, look at fucking what's their nuts, the tag team.
The Acclaimed FTR.
No.
2.0.
Thank you, 2.0. Thank you, Beef. When they first formed up the Jericho Appreciation Society, people probably looked at them and went like, these guys, Jericho? Okay, whatever. And now they're over like fucking gangbusters. Like, it's crazy how he's been able to help elevate and work with whoever he's worked with.
Yeah, he's actually brought people up.
Yes.
Daniel Garcia. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
He has been doing what Punk claimed that he wanted to do before he called everybody fucking children. And
all Punk did was beat people and then not bring them up.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not trying to be a dick to Punk, because we had a lot of really good moments with him in there. And I'm glad someone said, let's not be sad that it's over. Let's be glad that it happened. But, Punk.
I think the problem is that Punk is like a shooting star, man. Like you see it and you're like, yeah, great, and then it's gone, and you're like, whoa, but I was okay.
Yeah, but it's not. Yeah, but it's not one of those things where it's like a Christopher Lloyd from Angels in the Outfield moment where it's like, oh, I'll always be watching. Like, it's not one of those. It's a fucking.
Sorry,
you like that?
I don't know. Yeah,
that's careful with that reference. I know it's an antique. The but my point with this is that and there is a lot that Punk did to bring eyes on AEW. I think that is the most valuable thing that he did. I truly do. Having people be able to interact with him more so on the mic than in the ring. Guys like MJF, guys like Darby Allin, even though there wasn't, a terrible amount of talk there, but like, even Hangman, despite all the jiggery pokery, like my point with this is that like, there is good that Punk did. And it is good that he came back, and it was a special, memorable moment. However, you like, it's really easy to be, for any of us, and this is not like attacking you, Beef. This is for any of us to be a Punk apologist. But the problem is, when you are that big of a sack of dicks, like, and you act that way and think that people should kowtow to you, dude, we've all met that person that like, they say like, I speak my mind. I'm like, well, okay, you can speak your mind and not be a dick. Like, that's the thing. It's like, you can be opinionated and be forward with what you want, what you see, without being abrasive and shitty.
Right.
You can. See, and that's the problem, is that Punk is willing. He says, I'm willing to say the things that'll piss people off. I'm willing to do this. It's the Black Flag version of I'm just saying things. It's whataboutism that happens in politics. Like, that's the thing, is you don't have to be a like shitty, mean, abrasive, cocky, arrogant piece of shit to like say what you think and stand by what you think is best for not only yourself but the people around you, and for in this case, the business. That's my point with CM Punk. It's really easy to go, well, he's CM Punk, that's what he does. Okay, that's cool. And like that kind of thought process is almost like an abusive relationship. That's almost what it's like.
Yeah.
And I'll throw it a Poot to Bardism here. With AEW, I don't think the juice was worth the squeeze with Punk.
In the long run, no. But
I don't. So I think, and I don't think that's fair to Punk, because I don't think we saw complete work from him. I think that ultimately his goal was to put over MJF as the biggest deal in wrestling, and he was halfway there. And if injuries could have not derailed him, I think it absolutely would have happened at All Out. It would have been a huge fucking deal, and Max would be and he will be a great champion. But I think that he would already be in the middle of a great title run. But that being said, like, you can put all of that shit that you want to do in a bucket versus all the shit that you have done, and unfortunately, the shit that you have done is going to weigh way more than the shit that you want to do. That's just a fact.
CM Punk is the shooting star thing.
That was an analogy to say he burns out quick.
Well,
like,
kind of.
He's like, white hot, and then he's gone, because that's just how he is.
See, I see I can see wrestlers that were like that. That were like, oh my Lord, can you just tone it down there, big loud car?
Calm down, Motor City Machine Guns. Good Lord.
There have been, wrestlers that have been shooting stars that you see in the sky, and you're like, oh, that's freaking awesome. Like, oh, but then it burns out and it's over. CM Punk is like a shooting star that doesn't burn up in the atmosphere, but heads straight for the Army Reserve artillery shed, crashes into it and explodes, and then goes, oh no, what happened here? No, this isn't fair. This isn't fair at all.
I just like, oh my God.
You're the one that fucking crashed into the warehouse full of mortars and blew your ass up. You did this to yourself. You could have just kept on streaking through the sky and had people marvel at you. But nope, you headed straight for the fucking crate of dynamite, blew yourself up, and then went, oh no, this is the fucking guys. Like
it's the equivalent. Hold on, it's the equivalent of the meme with like the person riding the bike and then they put the stick in the wheel and it's supposed to the fucking bitch about when they topple over.
Yeah. One of my favorite lines
CM
from
Punk.
One of my favorite lines from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Look what God did to us, man. God didn't do this. You did. Like that's absolutely CM Punk. That's absolutely. He is the only thing second to that is.
The only thing second to that is finish the fucking story, man. Now tell me.
Can't stop here. This is backcountry.
What about the glands?
So, like,
tell me about these golf shoes.
CM Punk could have been the guy that voiced his mind, but also didn't overstep.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, this dude would consistently not just put his foot in his mouth, he would put his foot in his own ass. Because
and then his mouth, mouth.
You couldn't you can speak what's on your mind, but you can do so in a way that's not going to be damaging to your company or come off looking like you're disrespecting the owner of your company.
And I've said it before.
He didn't do that.
I think both times that he's popped off, it's been out of bitterness. WWE, it was fair amount of bitterness. I think that we can say that, you know, everything that he went through and like seeing what was happening, I think we understand that level of bitterness. AEW, I think it was just a blast of like a lot of shitty things happening all at once that he really didn't process well. And again, I promise I'm not trying to make excuses for him. He absolutely, you know, has made his fucking bed. He absolutely, you know, is by all intents and purposes here the bad guy. And he absolutely, you know, handled things the worst way possible. But like, you know, again, like, oh, I just got shot in the leg. Well, how do you feel? I feel fucking terrible, man. How do you fucking think, you know, how do you think my fucking day is going?
Well, that, you know, and we talked about it before, but I'm going to say it again because I don't give a shit. The media scrums are stupid.
Absolutely.
Like, there's no point.
I laugh every
what the
fucking
fuck
week
was that? Absolutely.
I laugh every week, every fucking week that Mike Tomlin stands up there in front of the media and they're like, "Hey man, the Steelers suck. What are you gonna do about it?" And he's like, "Well, the standard is the standard." Like, what the fuck do you want him to say?
You know,
like, yeah, we're a fucking terrible team. We got bad players. We don't know what the fuck we're doing at our coach. No fucking person is ever in their right mind going to be that honest with you and tell you exactly what you want to hear and the fucking truth. They're going to lie through their teeth to make themselves and their organization look better.
Okay, so the tactful way for Tomlin to, or whoever in this case, but in the example you used with Tomlin, he's not going to say, "Well, we're a shitty team this year. We got terrible players. We don't know what we're doing." Be like, "Hey, listen, you know, we're going through a rebuilding phase. It was bound to come at some point. You know, we have you know, some key veterans that moved on, retired, et cetera, et cetera." So
yeah, you didn't say that 2 days after the fact, but like right after you just got your fucking teeth kicked in. No, man, there is no part of your psyche. And I don't care who the fuck you are. You could be the fucking Dalai Lama, and you take a hard L. You get hurt during a match. You know, shit didn't work out the way that you wanted it to. And someone's like, "Hey, man, how's it going?" Or like, "Hey, man, heard your mom like had sex with fucking Ronnie Dilfer last night. How do you feel about that?" Like, all right, maybe now is not the time to bring up something fucking wildly personal and kick a man while he's fucking clearly bleeding.
There's two words that fix the whole thing. No comment.
Oh, I agree, but like you know, and again, human nature, man. Like,
I get it, but
you know,
but that also comes from that also comes from how do I say it? Put into practice, like the professionalism beforehand. Like, if
absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, if you go in with the mindset, like
act like he's been there before, right?
Yeah, act like you've been there before. Exactly. Like, I mean, trust me, I can't tell you how many days that I've gone into work and I just, just bite my tongue, grit my teeth.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so real talk here for a second. I don't know if I told you guys about the guy that walked out on a Sunday or whatever and kind of left me high and dry and kind of fucked us over that day.
I think we heard a little bit about it. Yeah.
Well, that happened. Well, then like with later on that week or whatever, like Wednesday or Thursday, they brought him back because apparently. Just wait. Because apparently he was down on his luck, whatever. He had a really, really bad day. Him and his kid were like sleeping in their car or something. And I'm like, okay, you know what?
Ooh,
fair.
As a father, me,
that's shitty. Yeah,
that is shitty. And I feel for somebody if they're in that situation. However, also as a father, if I'm anywhere close to being in that sort of situation, the last thing I'm going to do, even despite how shitty of a day I'm having, is walk the fuck out of a job paying me money, because I'm going to make sure that I can provide for my kid and keep us the fuck out of the car for the night. And then said same person turns around and a couple days later is caught to have been supposedly smoking weed in our fucking work truck.
Oh my goodness.
Also took the truck on a fucking adventure somewhere up into the fucking middle. Hold on, because everything is tracked. Doesn't start the route. Instead, goes up into the city, like up in Oakland or something. Comes back, does like half the route, then goes back up into Oakland again. then his ass got shit canned. I'm like,
Jesus. Mm-hmm. Well, and I mean, that's
fucking what a story, Jesus!
I know, right? Enjoy that.
Real talk. I'm always here for second chances. Hell, I'm usually here for third chances because I think that people can always try to do better. But man,
not anymore for this guy.
Well, yeah, not anymore for this guy. Not anymore for
this
Punk.
Fucking guy. I'm telling you.
I think Punk is now at the point where he's got caught smoking weed in the truck and driving around with the doors trying to air it open. Why were your doors open the whole way from fucking Oakland to Pleasant Hills? Well, I don't have a good answer for you on that. Okay,
I'll say this.
Get the fuck out of our truck. You're done.
I'll say this. If Punk could stay healthy and could put on the matches that he used to put on, I think that there is still value. And I think that with a proper choke point, a proper handler.
A bunch of fucking ifs in that statement.
Oh,
proper
yeah.
Safe word.
Like fucking I'm talking Paul Heyman at like the end of like a 4-foot chain, being like, all right, man, all right, that's enough. But I mean, that's not Punk, and we know, again, as one of the CM Punk biggest Punk fans you're gonna meet, he can't put on those bangers anymore. He's not the same guy. He's a guy that claimed to put the company on his shoulders, failed, and got hurt twice during two of the biggest moments that he absolutely could have. Because at the end of the day, and I'll say this again for perpetuity, I think that the end of the Punk Max saga would have ended in Max getting a big fucking rub from Punk by beating him for the title and beating him clean.
I don't want to hear about your fanfics, all right, buddy?
No, that's the fucking case, and that is what was going to happen at All Out. But the fact that Punk could not stay healthy ruined that, and that means that he has zero value to me.
So, honest question, because you kind of said one thing and then kind of said things contrary to it just a second ago. So,
as I do,
So now that Punk can't put on those matches and has had a hard time staying healthy.
Yes.
You said that there could still be value if he could do all these things. So assuming that that's not the case anymore, we know he can't. We know he's not the same person. He's not going to be able to put on those banger matches anymore. He's still good on the mic. But if he's going to be in the ring, he's obviously injury prone. So what is the value in him at this point?
And Punk's never going to be a mouthpiece. He's never going to be.
So what if you're somebody, if you're running fucking Beef's Backyard Wrestling Company or whatever, fucking what would you?
BBW.
I know. Right? Oh, damn it! I didn't even think of that. That works. Damn it all to hell. All right.
Hashtag Beef Hub.
Fucking. I can't.
Big beefy wrestling.
But what if you're the one with pen to paper? What would you bring him in for? Now you've been seeing him.
And this is honest to God, like when he way back when before he popped back on Raw, he was like headed towards a big time feud. He was headed towards a big main event push, and he got hurt. And I remember him being on commentary, and I remember him absolutely being fucking lights out on commentary the one night. Mm-hmm. And he like this was like a prelude to like the women's revolution. I think it was like Melina and like maybe Maria Kanellis. I'm not exactly sure in the match, but he was like, "Ladies and gentlemen, your WWE divas, smart, sexy, and powerful." Like very through his teeth, and I'm like, man, like this guy on commentary could be gold.
So
and
now,
but look, the problem is though, you have to have the same 4-foot chain attached to him at commentary.
Yeah.
Because if he is willing to go off in a press scrum with the owner of the company sitting right next to him over something that pissed him off, there's nothing to say that he won't lose his shit on a live commentary mic if somebody does something in the ring or looks at him the wrong way or has said something to him backstage.
And I don't think
he's the wrong kind of loose cannon. That's what he is.
I don't think he'd ever be happy in that role. I don't think he'd ever be happy being a mouthpiece. I don't think he'd ever be happy being a manager because ultimately the spotlight wasn't on him entirely. And again, I am the biggest Punk apologist you'll meet. I'm the biggest Punk guy probably. But I mean, honest to God, his career, absolutely the whole fucking thing has been all about him. All about him, regardless of what he wants to say on his way out of any doors about trying to help young talent or about, sending a message because, Bryan Danielson wasn't getting pushed or this, that, or the other thing. Yeah. He absolutely, like, your words say one thing, your actions say another. And at this point, I will remember Phillip Brooks for what he was. I will remember
you.
No. It's all going bad. No. Beef.
Copyright strike.
How did Punk get hurt this last time? Was it going over the top?
Yeah, it was the suicide dive through the rope.
Tope suicida.
The fucking move he's never done in his life before.
So, as an older wrestler, there are things that you should take out of your repertoire. Unless you're Jeff Hardy and can drink and smoke to your heart's content, and your body just becomes rubber. But let's just say your body
I still get hired by everybody in the world.
Fucking, I don't know. But can't Punk wrestle, but wrestle like a guy his age would wrestle in the ring. Don't dive over the top rope. I mean, hell, the riskiest thing that you should be doing is a top rope elbow drop to the inside of the ring, not on a commentary table, not to the outside. Stick with the Macho Man style elbow drop to the ring, and that's your highest flying, highest risk move you got. Like,
absolutely.
can he wrestle and stay healthy, contained within the ring?
Unfortunately, probably not.
Oh damn.
Do you know? So his finish on the Indies was the Pepsi plunge, pedigree from the top rope.
Right.
And everybody, when he came up to the main roster and started using to go to sleep in WWE, everyone's like, "Oh, it's because Triple H, the pedigree." No, it's because Vince McMahon et al. Was like, "There's no fucking point of you doing this on a Monday Night Raw in front of 35, maybe, probably more closer to 15,000 people, because every single week, because you're just gonna blow yourself out." So, like, when he
how he didn't before is mind blowing.
Right. Correct me if I'm wrong, but in the dog collar the dog collar match, I think it was the dog collar match, maybe not. One of the matches with Max, I think he did it.
It was the one. That wasn't dog collar. I think it was the one where he came in with like.
Yeah, the old school match, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
So like, and like that's what you do. You break it out like once every fucking like decade or shit.
Special occasion.
But to be a 44-year-old never having done a fucking plancha in your life, coming off of major-ish surgery on your foot, I don't understand the mentality of going, well, I've never done this move before, so here we go. Like that's like fucking Roman Reigns breaking out a Canadian destroyer.
Oh
like,
my God.
Why? Why would you even attempt to fucking think? No.
By the way,
Yeah,
would pay lots of money to see that happen.
Agreed. So like,
maybe to the right person, because someone is going to die.
I don't think
it's like NASCAR.
I think the CM Punk in the ring is just like CM Punk on the mic. He has these delusions of grandeur about what he is and what he can do, and like, unfortunately, without somebody to kind of like funnel that, you're left with a guy that might do something really fucking cool, or might hurt himself and everyone else in the process.
All right, look, last question on Punk before we wrap this up. If Triple H can have a talk with Paul Heyman about keeping Punk on a leash and being the guy that is kind of the buffer. Like, if he starts to get fired up and pissy, Paul Heyman's that type of guy that can go and talk and bring rationalism and reasonableness into the conversation. Do you think either party, H and Punk, talk about a possible comeback to the WWE? Now, keep in mind, before the whole like H Punk history gets brought up, I recently did read an interview where somebody said, look, again, Triple H learned at the foot of Vince McMahon, and Vince McMahon forgave everybody. Maybe not the Macho Man, but again,
he did though. He did. Macho Man, before he died, Macho Man did a commercial for WWE All Stars, which was a WWE product. So I think that he was probably on his way back in.
Then that's it. So Vince McMahon forgave everybody because for the betterment of the business, for the betterment of making money, Vince McMahon forgave everybody. So having seen that, it's not outside the realm of possibility to say Triple H may be able to forgive everybody because that's what Vince did. Is there any possible chance of a talk between these two, especially seeing all of the coverage and the news, how much the crowd went nuts seeing Punk there, how much merch sales happened, putting all of that together, looking at it from that, grand vision? Is there a chance?
Never say never.
I know you're going to continue my points again in true fashion. The point I'm going to make is probably less time than beef, but I think that it would, the only way that it would work is if they brought Punk back as a super heel and he badmouthed AEW. The hardcore WWE fans would cheer, but I really think that the press is bad enough that H might want to distance himself from that, because this is not Punk going, I was the good guy, everyone else was the dick, and us going, yeah, Punk, yeah, you tell those bureaucratic fucking dick faces. This is like Punk being a shithead and everyone going, like, why is Punk being a shithead? And I think H would want to distance himself from that, because all Punk would come back and do is fucking run his mouth on AEW and then demand shit and then do the same thing in WWE.
So is there a chance? Yes, there is a chance, because Triple H understands the business, and Triple H, again, Triple H the booker, I think, can separate better than Triple H the wrestler could.
Yeah.
And Phil Brooks likes money. And if you believe the reports, he's got the wrestling bug.
Well,
I just don't know, because that's a big risk, man. It's a big risk for maybe not a big reward.
It's a bigger risk for WWE than it is.
Oh my god!
For CM Punk.
Oh my god! Yes. I think at best you pay CM Punk a lot of fucking money. You get 1 or 2 good dates out of him before something cataclysmic happens.
Really? So you think even with, let's say, Paul Heyman being there and maybe him being the one that could try his best to rein Punk in and to try to not control him, but like he had nobody in AEW. I mean, Ace fucking Steel wasn't going to rein Punk in. All he was going to do was egg him on. You know, and I think CM Punk likes, and I don't know that there are many people in the world that he does like, and I think he respects Paul Heyman.
Facts.
So even with that relationship that those two have, if Triple H charged Paul Heyman and said, like, look, man, I got a lot riding on this. I'm really going to need your help to try to, you know, make him feel the warm and fuzzies, get him comfy, get him, you know, snuggle him up. You think it would still, something cataclysmic would still happen?
You know, I think Triple H is a hothead. And honestly, I think the risk is not just for WWE, but also for Triple H physically. Because Triple H getting into a confrontation, not that CM Punk's going to kick Paul Levesque's ass, not at all.
No.
But like him getting all fucking tuned up about it, getting all of his fucking heart blood activated, like is not good for the game. Not good at all.
Oh.
So I think it'd be smart for him to recuse, because, you know, CM Punk's the kind of guy that absolutely will needle you.
Yeah.
He'll give you the elbow in the short ribs a couple times until you're like, listen, man, back the fuck off. And then go, I wasn't doing anything, man. I thought we were just messing around here. Exactly. He'll
push just to see how far he can push.
He will push those boundaries. Exactly. And I don't think that's good for Triple H. The person, Paul Levesque, the person, I don't think that that's good for him. I don't think it's good for WWE, because if you go out and you get this guy, this is not quite, but akin to WCW getting Hogan, and Savage, and like the entire old man brigade, when they had a stable of young up and coming guys that were like, just feature us, man. You want the future? Here we are. And like, if you went out and did that with CM Punk, you'd be sending a message to the locker room full of guys who are hungry, and ready to break through, that you don't believe in them, that you need to have another guy like CM Punk come in. I don't think the risk reward is there. I think a place like New Japan could do it if they can get together the fucking yen for it. You know, I don't think he'd ever do Impact. I don't think he'd ever do like NWA Power or MLW or anything.
I don't think they could pay him enough.
Right? Yeah, even if they could, I don't. You know, because the spotlight's not that big.
Yeah, he's gonna want a big spotlight. He's gonna want to be seen.
Unless something weird and just super odd happens with AEW and he comes back. And like, I think that's it. Regardless of what he wants to do, he's burned the 2 biggest bridges in North America. Like, so it's time to find a new fucking career.
Oof.
Yeah, that's a rough one. Like it's
make
sad.
them tacos.
All right, I'm gonna make you tacos. The things in the description, all of our sponsors, check them out. They're wonderful and great and good and stuff. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
When did we start putting piss in the tacos?